Breaking news today, my city has been overrun by Russians, and now its inhabitants can barely scrape by. According to a source who spoke with express.co.uk, the Turkish government is doing nothing to help Antalya residents who have been displaced by Russian immigrants. A local of the Turkish city of Antalya claims that the influx of Russians has forced locals to return to their families or take up residence on the streets. The local, who asked not to be identified, said that prices had gone up and security had decreased since the beginning of the war in Ukraine due to the influx of Russians. The city on Turkey's southern coast has long been a popular destination for Russian tourists, but in recent years, residents have increased as Russians seek refuge from military conscription under Vladimir Putin. The New York Times estimates that as of September 2022, the city was home to 50,000 people, and that number has likely increased since then. Under anonymity, a local resident shared their thoughts on Russian immigrants and their frustration with the Turkish government with the express inflation is a major issue for the local population. Salary Explorer estimates that the median monthly income in the city is 7,600 lira, £222.80. Rent is estimated to be between 6,900, £202.27, and 13,800, £404.55. Lira, multiple websites. The local claims that some people have seen these prices increase by a factor of 10 as landlords take advantage of wealthy Russians looking for housing. They declared, "I was renting a one-bedroom apartment for 1,000 Turkish lira per month. The owner tried to charge me 10 times the going rate after the Russians showed up. This is against the law." There are many people in Turkey who are unable to pay their rent because the minimum wage is only 11,500 lira per month, while the minimum rent for a rubbish house is 12,000 or 13,000. According to a Reuters report from late last year, there have been rising calls for a ban on foreigners investing in the real estate sector, lending credence to the residents' claim. They felt helpless and moved back in with their parents, but claimed they had no choice. Because there is no control over the situation, nobody could say anything or change the situation in a good way. So many people are homeless right now, they said. "I looked for an affordable apartment in the city center but came up empty, so I moved back in with my parents. As a result, most people have had to make significant changes to their way of life, including many divorcees who are now single parents. Our independence is now gone. The population is growing exponentially, and they outnumber and outgun us in every way." Rent increases have been the most detrimental to locals because it leaves them with less money for other necessities like food and utilities. "Done nothing because it is so happy with this situation. It is a huge income," they said of the Turkish government. Numerous Russians have left Ukraine since the conflict broke out for a variety of reasons. As Putin hemorrhages troops to the battlefield, some have fled because they don't feel safe, while others are trying to avoid being conscripted.